those who are giving thanksgiving to God right now because their family member has been located, those who remain prayerful that their family member too will be found. This is a time when we as a state, we as a community need God more than ever. Little kids off at camp, joyfully excited about the upcoming day to celebrate the 4th of July. Campers alongside the river, doing the same thing and enjoying one of the beautiful spots in the state of Texas. Asleep probably just a few hours from waking up. People that I know of who were not in harm's way, but went into harm's way to try to save the lives of others, but who lost their life. So many people have been swept up into an extraordinary catastrophe. It needs God, but it also needs a robust response by the state and local governments and by people who live in these communities impacted by this. We had a meeting with officials at the state and local level, and there is extraordinary collaboration to make sure that we are going to address everybody's concern as quickly as we possibly can. At the state level, we have Texas Task Force 1 and Texas Task Force 2. There are some of the best experts in the world at search and rescue missions. And know this, we remain in a search and rescue right now. So it's been going on over the course of the day, and you're going to hear stories here momentarily about exactly what has been achieved through those search and rescue missions. They will continue in the darkness of night. They will be taking place when the sun rises in the morning. They will be nonstop, seeking to find everybody who is unaccounted for. The Texas National Guard has been a part of that process, and you'll hear the general in charge of that speak here soon, as well as the Texas Department of Public Safety and their operations. We also have game wardens from the Texas Parks and Wildlife that are involved in this process, as well as the Texas Division of Emergency Management. I have assured all of the local officials here that whatever they need, whether it be personnel, whether it be equipment, whether it be search and rescue operations, whether it be supporting them in their endeavors, whatever these communities need, the state of Texas is going to step up and provide it. But we know that what is needed and wanted the most is all the families out there who are waiting for information about their child or their loved one. And as you will hear, we are working on strategies to deliver on that information that families are craving. We want to make sure we get information as quickly as we possibly can. But most importantly, we will stop at nothing to ensure that every asset and person and plane and whatever is needed is going to be involved in the process of rescuing every last person and ensure everybody involved in this is going to be fully accounted for. As part of this, I'm signing a disaster declaration. Definitely one that includes this area, but includes more than this. And this is the proclamation here that I'll sign, but I want to tell you in here, I'm declaring a state-based disaster for those in the following counties: Bandera, Coke, Comal, Concho, Gillespie, Kendall, Kerr, Kimball, Llano, Mason, McCullough, Menard, Reeves, San Saba, and Tom Green counties. This will ensure all the counties that are identified in this, and there may be more that need to be added later, are going to have access to every tool, strategy, personnel that the state of Texas can provide them, which will be limitless. We'll put in everything we have in the entire state. Someone who's been involved in this and shares the commitment is Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Thank you, Governor. Dalton, who's our city manager, told us earlier that he was jogging at 3 in the morning along the river, and there wasn't a drop of rain falling. And within a few hours, the Guadalupe had risen about 26 feet, and actually it rose that quickly in about 45 minutes of those 2 hours. And since the first alert went out early this morning, between 4 and 5 a.m., the officials here, the sheriff, immediately sprung into action. And since 4 or 5 this morning, they have not stopped. We put forth 400 to 500 state employees, DPS, game wardens. I'll let the speakers talk about the specifics of everyone we had in the air, drones, helicopters, but from the first minute that this storm went from 3 in the morning, not a drop of rain, until the tragedy struck and the river rose, these people behind us, Governor, have done everything they can. And there have been a number of rescues, and they'll speak to that as well during the day. And I echo what the governor said. As I said earlier, we will not stop until we find every body, and the rescue continues that effort. We will not stop. And it is God Almighty that we need. Not a thought and prayers message. Hey, get down on your knees and pray for these families tonight and all these children. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. There's going to be other people who speak here, but before they do speak, I want to recognize a few others who will be involved in this process. One is the state representative from this area, West Riddell. Why don't you let people know who you are? And we're also in the State Senate District of Senator Pete Flores. And we have the Texas Parks and Wildlife Game Warden, Colonel, who's here with us. Where's? Thank you all for being a part of this process. And now I want to turn things over to Sheriff Leitha.
Yes, Sheriff Larry Leitha, Kerr County. What I'd like to let y'all know and the public know is, like the governor said, we do have all the resources we need at this time, and we will continue to have them until we finish this mission. I want to tell y'all that we will be working around the clock 24/7 until every person is found. What I can confirm at this point, we're at about 24 fatalities. We're not going to be giving any names out at this time. We're still notifying next of kin. Also, I've been notified one fatality has been found in Kendall County. I cannot say it's related to this incident at this time, but we'll let y'all know when we find out more information. I asked the media to be real patient with us during this time. We've got a lot of things going on. Y'all see what? There's a lot of people here. We have a lot of resources. We just need more time, and we're looking really forward. We'll be working 24/7 overnight into tomorrow through the next several days in this mission. We will get you information as we get it. We will get it to you. We'll continue to have briefings. We'll continue to keep updated at this time. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mayor Herring.
I'm Joe Herring. I'm mayor of the city of Kerrville. My job today is to tell people thank you. People from across the state have come to help. City, county, state, all working together, all working for the same goal. I want to say thank you to the dedicated men and women of the first responders. You are our heroes. We will not stop. We will rescue those in peril, and we will find those who are missing. But I'd also ask, please pray for our community. This is a hard day, and there will be hard days to come. Pray for us. We covet your prayers. Thank you.
The task of the Texas Department of Public Safety is to serve and to protect our state, as well as to keep people safe. I want the Director, Colonel Freeman Martin from the Texas Department of Public Safety to explain to you all the things about the links that DPS has gone through over just less than the past 24 hours, which has been very helpful in what you guys helped accomplish.
This was a catastrophic event. It was a mass casualty event. And we don't want to get up here and brag about, the successes when there's life lost and kids that are still missing. But I can tell you every asset, every resources that the Department of Public Safety has is being used here today. We have long-lasting relationships with the Sheriff, Larry Leitha, that go back 30 years, working with the mayor. And we brought over 100 troopers this morning, and they worked all day, rescues, high water vehicles, boats, rescue drivers, divers, 7 rescue helicopters with hoist capabilities. And that was just today. We have another shift coming in tonight and another shift in the morning. We'll really ramp it up in the morning, but we will not stop. In addition to the search and rescue, that's the priority right now. Moving forward, tomorrow we're going to bring in communications operators, victim services people to help our partners here in Kerr County. We have Parks and Water. They're providing just many boat teams, and they have 2 rescue helicopters. Today we had the Texas Military Department, the Texas Department of Public Safety, Parks and Wildlife, Task Force 1, everybody working in support of our local partners. That's what right looks like. There are no egos here. There's nobody in charge. We're all working together. We're all communicating, and we will not stop until we find every last person. So we'll be here for days to come. Tomorrow is going to be a very important day. I'm getting this morning with the weather. So as the day went on, it picked up, and we're able to rescue more and recover more. That will continue tomorrow, and we have more resources en route. So with that, I'll turn it over to General Seltzer.
Good afternoon. As the governor has already said, he has ordered me to provide every capability that the Texas National Guard has to these local officials in this community. Today, we activated 5 helicopters with hoist to do rescue operations. They were paired with rescue swimmers from Texas Task Force 1. These crews trained together year-round just for this situation, and they were ready to respond. Additionally, we have 3 additional helicopters on the way to support the community. We are also using high-profile tactical military vehicles to move evacuees out of high water areas to shelter locations. As of a few hours ago, we had rescued or evacuated 207 people, and 167 of those were by helicopter. So we're having a very good helicopter response when the weather allows. Additionally, in our operations tomorrow, we'll be sending personnel to help with evacuee shelter management, and also the Texas Emergency Tracking Network. It's a banding system so that we can band evacuees to help get accountability of who's being evacuated into the shelters. Thank you.
Thank you to the men and women of the Texas National Guard. And now, Nim Kidd, the Chief of the Texas Division of Emergency Management.
Thank you, Governor. Our prayers are rooted in action. We've had folks on the ground since yesterday afternoon here, and our State Emergency Operations Center was opened at 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The original forecast that we received on Wednesday from the National Weather Service predicted 3 to 6 inches of rain in the Concho Valley and 4 to 8 inches of rain in the Hill Country. We worked with our own meteorologists to fine-tune that weather statement, and as many of you know, and many of you in broadcast journalism and meteorology, you can go back and look at your own forecast, and the amount of rain that fell in this specific location was never in any of those forecasts. Nonetheless, in partnership with our local officials here, We had resources that had been surrounding this area since yesterday. When the rain fell and the calls came in, we immediately jumped into action alongside of our local partners. In addition to the local partners that are here, we have 100 personnel, search and rescue experts from Texas A&M Task Force 1. We have over 1,000 state officials and state departments that are responding here with over 804 assets, vehicles, boats, and helicopters. I want to run through that list really quickly. 150 from Texas Task Force 1, that is 30 boats and additional high-profile vehicles. You heard from Colonel Martin in the Texas Department of Public Safety. Colonel Vanderroos down on the end has over 170 personnel here, 167 four-wheel drive vehicles, and over 53 boats in addition to their aircraft. You heard from General Selzer about the military departments. The A&M Forest Service is here to help us do tree removal and get trees out of the way and help with incident management. The Department of State Health Services has 164 members from the Emergency Medical Task Force here with over 71 pieces of equipment. You may see ambulances in this county. They're anywhere from near here. They're part of the Emergency Medical Task Force. There will be questions about reunification centers. There'll be questions about noticing. Our local partners will answer those questions when you have them. And Governor, at this point, that ends my prepared remarks.
Thank you very much. So this is a 24/7 effort. Everyone needs to know, day or night, whatever hour of the day, there will be local officials, state officials collaborating together. I also want to thank the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, who gave me a phone call today to offer any assistance that we need. Secretary Doug Burgum, Secretary of the U.S. Department of the Interior, who called and offered any resources we need. Senator Cruz called and offered any support that they could provide. So this is something where the federal government is leaning in and wants to assist the community here in the heart of Texas to accelerate the process, to be able to draw this to a very positive conclusion. And it's something that Texas will continue to lean into. We'll take a few questions.
Any estimate on how many people are missing or unaccounted for?
No, at this time, sir, no, we don't have an estimate. The problem was, it was a holiday weekend here. We have a lot of campers here, and we do not. No, we're between 23 and 25. Yeah, we're still working on that, sir.
Yeah, right now you were just listening to officials in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott and several other local officials talk about this devastating flash flood event that has happened in central Texas, now leading to the death of 24 people. That is almost double what we knew just a few minutes ago. The governor saying, quote, "This is a time when as a state and community, we need God more than ever." He described this flash flooding event happening in the wee early hours this morning at a time where children and many people were sleeping. We heard from Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick talking about the Guadalupe River rising more than 20 feet within 2 hours and saying from the first minute, emergency responders jumped into action. There are rescue swimmers and helicopters that throughout the day have been rescuing people in more than 5 counties throughout central Texas. We now know, based on this news conference, more than 1,000 search and rescue responders have been on the ground there in Texas trying to account for the unaccounted. And that uncounted number at this point unknown. Officials saying because of the holiday weekend, campers in the area, it is really unknown how many people may be missing right now. We do know, though, at least 20 young girls in a camp near Kerrville, Texas. They are still missing right now. That camp holding at least 700 children. Most of those children have been rescued. Want to go to News Nation, Jorge Ventura, live there in Kerrville, Texas, at that news conference. Jorge, what more are you learning?
Hey, Alicia. Well, the really heartbreaking news, the one that we got updated that you hit on, is the 24 fatalities. That is a new number. Before that press conference, that number was at 13. Kerr County Sheriff did say they expected that number to rise throughout the weekend. But Governor Greg Abbott started the press conference a bit somber and emotional, asking the community to pray, asking for prayers throughout the whole state of Texas. And he really spoke about the families actually came to Kerr County today to celebrate the 4th of July, to be with family and friends, and the tragedy that occurred. The governor did also praise individuals in the community that risked their lives attempting to save even folks that they might not even know and they might have just met by the river. And some of the things that I really took away from me, Alicia, was according to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, he says that Guadalupe River rose to around 26 feet in just about 2 hours. And that's when you just saw a massive deployment of resources by the whole state of Texas, from Texas National Guard, Texas Department of Public Safety, game wardens. You even have Texas Wildlife game. The governor also signing a disaster declaration for the county here in Kerr County and counties nearby. The governor and also the state officials continue to reiterate that they will not stop at nothing until every person is rescued there. And at the end of the press conference, a reporter did ask just about how many people are missing right now. Authorities say they don't have an estimation yet, but will continue to work out throughout the night into the morning hours, and say they will continue to work. So search and rescues really deployed from almost every single agency. We also saw Texas National Guard say that they did deploy at least 5 helicopters in the area paired with divers. Another 3 additional were on the way. Over 200 people so far at least have been rescued, at least 60 from helicopter that we know right now. Now, unfortunately, we did not get an update on those 20 missing girls from that summer camp. We do know that about an hour or two ago, Texas Game Warden said they did make an entrance and that some vehicles were starting to take out campers. We don't have an official number just yet on those missing children, at least at this moment.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.